Now attention please. Chemical properties of nonmetals. Nonmetals are collection of elements having a less similarity in physical and chemical properties. Nonmetals are also known as electronegative elements because in chemical reactions, nonmetals accept electron or gain electron and they form negatively charged ions. So they are known as electronegative elements. Chemical properties of nonmetals are such as first chemical property is the reaction of nonmetals with oxygen. Generally, nonmetals combine with oxygen to form acidic oxides, but in some cases, neutral oxides are also formed. Now see the chemical reaction of nonmetals with oxygen. Carbon reacts with oxygen when their complete combustion, carbon dioxide will be formed. It is acidic in nature. Carbon combines with oxygen. If there is a partial combustion, carbon monoxide is formed. Carbon monoxide is neutral in nature. When sulfur combines with oxygen, there will be a combustion of sulfur and oxygen. Sulfur dioxide is formed. Sulfur dioxide is acidic in nature. That is, when nonmetals react with oxygen to form acidic oxides. Now, second chemical reactions, nonmetals with water. Generally, nonmetals do not react with water except halogens. For example, chlorine on dissolving in water give the following reaction. When chlorine dissolves in water, we get chlorohydrin chemical. Now, when chlorine reacts or combine with water to get hydrochlorine chemical. Third chemical reaction is a reaction of dilute acids with nonmetals. Generally, nonmetals do not react with dilute acids, exception only halogens. For example, chlorine reacts with dilute hydrobromic acid. Such reactions are as follows. Chlorine reacts with the hydrobromic acid to form hydrochloric acid and bromine. Now, fourth chemical reaction, reaction of nonmetals with hydrogen. Nonmetals reacts with hydrogen under a certain condition, such as a proper temperature, pressure, and also use of catalyst. We see the reaction of nonmetals with hydrogen when sulfur reacts with hydrogen to form a hydrogen sulfide and nitrogen reacts with hydrogen to form ammonia. Now, in this in the reaction between chlorine and hydrobromic hydrogen bromide or hydrobromic acid, in the reaction between chlorine and hydrogen bromide, a transformation of HBr into Br2 takes place. Can this transformation be called oxidation, which is the oxidant that brings about this oxidation? Now, in this chemical reaction, chlorine get chlorine gain electron. So, chlorine is known as a reductant, and also in this chemical reaction, bromine lose electron. So, bromine is known as oxidant. Bromine is known as oxidant. Now, we are going to discuss ionic compounds. The compounds formed from two units, namely cation and anion, are called ionic compounds. The cation and anion being oppositely charged, there is an electrostatic force of attraction between them. You know that this force of attraction between cation and anion is called as the ionic bond. The number of cations and anion in a compound and the magnitude of the electric charge on them is such that the positive and negative charges balance each other. As a result, an ionic compound is electrically neutral. Ionic compounds are crystalline in nature. The surface of all particles of a crystalline substance have a definite shape and are smooth and shiny. The regular arrangement of ions in a solid ionic compounds is responsible for their crystalline nature. The arrangement of ions is different in different ionic compounds, and therefore the shapes of their crystals are different. The main factor that determines the general arrangement of ions in a crystal is the attractive force between oppositely charged ions and repulsive force between similarly charged ions. Because of this, the general crystalline structure has negative ions arranged around a positive ion and positive ion arranged around a negative ion. Two of the important factors responsible for a certain crystal structure are as follows. Number one, size of the positively and negatively charged ions. Number second, magnitude of the electrical charge on the ions. Now, the electrostatic force in the neighboring ions with opposite charges is very high or strong. That is why the melting point of ionic compounds are also high. Also, the ionic compounds are hard and brittle in nature. Properties of ionic compounds. First property of any compound is the attractive force between the positively and negatively charged ions is strong. Therefore, the ionic compounds exist in solid state and are hard. The ionic compounds are brittle and can be broken into pieces by applying pressure. Now, third property of ionic compound is the intermolecular force of attraction is high in ionic compounds and large energy is required to overcome it. Therefore, the melting and boiling points of ionic compounds are high. Ionic compounds are water soluble. This is because the water molecules orient in a particular manner around the ions separated by dissociation process. As a result of this, a new force of attraction is established between the ion and the surrounding water molecules, replacing the original intermolecular attraction. And aqueous solution of ionic compounds are formed. Ionic compounds are, however, insoluble in solvent like kerosene and petrol. This is because, unlike water, a new attractive force cannot be established in the solvent. So, ionic compounds, uh, they are not soluble in solvents such as kerosene as well as in petrol. Now, fifth property of ionic compound, the ionic compounds cannot conduct electricity when in solid state, but when they are infused or molten state, they conduct electricity. As in this state, the ions are mobile. The aqueous solution of ionic compounds conduct electricity as they contain the dissociated ions. On passing current through the solution, the ions move to the oppositely charged electrodes due to the electrical conductivity infused and dissolved state. The ionic compounds are called electrolytes. Now we study a new point, metallurgy. the science and technology regarding the extraction of metals from ores and their purification for the use is called metallurgy. Occurrence of metal. We already know that all reactive metals in nature, they do not occur in free state, but they are found in combined state as their salts such as oxides, carbonates, sulfides, and nitrates. However, the most unreactive metals that are not affected by air, water, and other natural factors like silver, gold, platinum generally occurs in free state. The compounds of metals that occur in nature along with the impurities are called as minerals. The minerals from which the metal can be separated economically are called ores. Ores contains many typical impurities such as the soil, sand, and rocky substances along with the metal compounds. These impurities are called yang. Metals can be extracted from their ores by means of various methods of separation. The process of extraction of metal in a pure state from the ore is also a part of metallurgy. Ores are taken out from the mines and gangue is usually separated from the ore at the site of mines by various methods. Then the ores are carried out to the place where metal are produced. Their metals are extracted in pure form. Then metals are further purified by different methods of purification. This entire process is called as metallurgy. In metallurgy, metals are purified. We get a pure metals from their ores by the process of metallurgy. Basic principles of metallurgy. Pure metals obtained from the ore by the following stages. Number one stage is concentration of ores. The process of separating gangue from the ores is called concentration of ores. In this process, the concentration of the compound of the desired metal is increased. Various ways are used for this purpose. However, exact way to be used depends upon the physical property of the metal present in the ores and the gangue. It also depends upon the reactivity of metal and the facilities available for the purification. Various factors that could be responsible for the environmental pollution are also considered. Some general methods for the concentration of ores are as follows. Number one, separation based on gravitation. In gravitation process, the heavy particles of ores can be easily separated from the light particles of gangue by the gravitational method. The process to carry out this separation are as separation based on gravitation. In gravitation method, the heavy particles can be easily separated from the light particles of gangue. Now, first gravitation method is Villafley table method. In this method of separation, the Villafley table is made by fixing narrow and thin wooden refills on inclined surface. The table is kept vibrating continuously. Powdered or obtained from lumps of ore using ball mill is powered on the table, and a stream of water is also released from the upper side. As a result, the lighter gong particles are carried away along with the flowing water, while the heavier particles, in which proportion of minerals is more and proportion of gangue is less, are blocked by the wooden refills and get collected on the slits between them. Now we see the figure of Villafley table method. We released or we pour powdered or from these three plates, and the Villafley table is continuously vibrate, and that table is used to separate heavier particles from heavier particles from the light particles of gang. This is a very useful method to separate heavier particles from the light particles of gang. Now, second separation method is hydroelectric separation method. The hydroelectric separation method is based on the working of a mill. This is a tapering vessel similar to that used in a grinding mill. It opens in a tank-like container that is tapering on the lower side. The tank has an outlet for water on the upper side and a water inlet on the lower side. Finally, ground ore is released in the tank. A forceful gel of water is introduced in the tank from the lower side. Young particles are lighter and therefore they flow out along with the water jet from the outlet of the upper side of the tank and get collected separately. At the same time, the heavier particles of the ore are collected at the bottom of the lower side of the tank. In short, this method is based on the law of gravitation, wherein particles of the same size are separated by their weight with the help of water. Now, the heavier particles of ore are collected at the bottom of a tank. Now, we collect that heavier particles uh, from such outlet that is in the base of a tank. Now, third gravitation separation method is magnetic separation method. This method requires an electromagnetic machine. The main parts of this machine are two types of iron rollers and the conveyor belt moving continuously around them. One of the roller is non-magnetic while the other is electromagnetic. The conveyor belt moving around the roller is a non-magnetic made up of leather or brass. The powdered ore is poured on the conveyor belt near the non-magnetic roller. Two collector vessels are placed below the magnetic roller. The particles of the non-magnetic part in the ore are not attracted towards the magnetic roller, therefore they are carried further along the belt and fall in the collector vessels placed is away from the magnetic roller. At the same time, the particles of the magnetic ingredients of the ore stick to the magnetic roller and therefore fall in the collector vessel near the magnetic roller. In this way, the magnetic and non-magnetic ingredients in the ore can be separated depending on their magnetic nature. Now we see the magnetic separation method, the figure of magnetic separation method. There are two roller, one roller is a non-magnetic roller and another roller is a magnetic roller. Now there is a conveyor the conveyor belt moving around both these two rollers. That conveyor belt is a non-magnetic belt that is made from leather or brass. Now there are two collectors are placed at the bottom of rollers, and one container one container collects non-magnetic ingredients and other container collects magnetic ingredients. Now, fourth flotation method, it is also gravitation separation method. The fourth flotation method is based on two opposite properties. That properties are such as hydrophilic and hydrophobic of the particles. Here, the particles of the metal sulfides, due to their hydrophobic property, get wetted mainly with oil, while due to the hydrophilic property, the gong particles get wetted with water. By using these properties, certain ores are concentrated by fourth flotation method. In this method, the finely ground ore is put in a big tank containing ample amount of water. Certain vegetable oils such as pine oil or eucalyptus oil is added in the water for the formation of fourth. Pressurized air is blown through the water. There is an agitator rotating around its axis in the center of the flotation tank. The agitator is used as per the requirement. Bubbles are formed due to blown due to the blown air. Due to agitation, a foam is formed from oil, water, and air bubbles together. Due to the agitation, this foam rises to the surface of water and floats. That is why this method is called as fourth flotation process. Particles of certain sulfide ore float with the foam on water as they preferentially get wetted by the oil. For example, this method is used for the concentration of zinc blende and copper pyrite. Now, the last method, that method is also known as gravitation separation method, leaching. The first step in extraction of the metals, aluminum, gold, and silver for their ores is the method of leaching. In this method, the ore is soaked in a certain solution for a long time. The ore dissolves in that solution due to specific chemical reaction. The gong, however, does not react and therefore does not dissolve in that solution, so it can be separated. For example, concentration of bauxite, the aluminum ore is done by leaching method. Here, bauxite is soaked in an aqueous sodium hydroxide or aqueous sodium carbonate, which dissolves the main ingredient, alumina, in it. Please tell me, what is the electronic definition of oxidation and reduction? What is the electronic definition of oxidation and reduction? Oxidation means to lose electron and reduction means to gain electron. The electronic definition of oxidation and reduction is: oxidation means to lose electron and reduction means to gain electron. During the extraction of metals from their ores, metals is obtained from the cation of metal. During the extraction of metals from their ores, metal is obtained from the cation of metals. In this process, the metal cation is to be reduced. How to bring about the reduction depends upon the reactivity of the metal. We already know that reactivity series of metal, extraction of metals. Now, first we study the extraction of reactive metals. The metals at the top of reactivity series are highly reactive. Their reactivity decreases down the series. For example, potassium, sodium, aluminum are reactive metals. Reactive metals have a large capacity to form cations by losing electrons in their outermost shell, and so they are known as electropositive. For example, reactive metals react vigorously with dilute acids to give hydrogen gas. Highly reactive metals burn by reacting with oxygen from air at room temperature, their extraction has to be done by electrolytic reduction. For example, the metal sodium, calcium, and magnesium are obtained by electrolysis of their molten chloride salts. In this process, metal is deposited on the cathode, while chlorine gas is liberated at the anode. The electrode reaction during the electrolysis of molten sodium chloride to get metallic sodium are as shown. Cathodic reaction. In cathode reaction, sodium, there is a reduction of sodium ion, that is sodium ion get electron to get sodium metal. That reaction is known as cathodic reaction, or that is known as a reduction. Now the anode reaction is such as chloride ion lose electrons and to form chlorine. In anode reaction, chloride ion lose electron and to get chlorine. That process is known as oxidation. That is known as oxidation. Now we are going to see the how aluminum is obtained by electrolytic reduction of aluminum oxide in the ore bauxite. Now we discuss or we study the extraction of aluminum. We already know that the symbol of aluminum is Al, color of aluminum is silver white, atomic number of aluminum is 13, electronic configuration is 238. The 3 electrons are present in the outermost shell of or valence shell of aluminum. So the valence of aluminum is 3. Aluminum lose electron in a chemical reaction and get a positive charge. So aluminum is a electropositive element, or it is a metal. Aluminum being reactive metal does not occur in a nature in free state. Aluminum is the third highly abundant element in the earth crust after oxygen and silicon. Aluminum is extracted from its ore bauxite. Bauxite contains 30 to 70% of aluminum oxide, and remaining part is gong. That gong is made up of sand, silica, iron oxide. There are 2 steps in the extraction of aluminum. First step is the concentration of a bauxite ore. That is, we get by use of 2 steps of extraction of, we get pure aluminum by use of 2 steps of extraction of aluminum. Now, first step is concentration of bauxite. Bauxite is the main ore of aluminum. Silica, ferric oxide, and titanium oxide are the impurities present in the bauxite. Separation of these impurities is done by leaching process using Bayer's method or Hall's method. In both these methods, finally, the concentrated alumina is obtained by calcination. In the Bayer's process, the ore is first ground in a ball mill. Then it is leached by heating with concentrated solution of caustic soda at 140 to 150 degrees Celsius temperature under high pressure for 2 to 8 hours in a digester. Aluminum oxide being amphoteric in nature, it reacts with the aqueous solution of sodium hydroxide to form water soluble sodium aluminate. This means that bauxite is leached by sodium hydroxide solution. Now we already know that amphoteric oxides. What is meant by which oxides are known as amphoteric oxides? Metal oxides are basic in nature, but some metal oxides such as aluminum oxide, zinc oxide reacts with both acid and bases to produce salt and water, hence they are known as amphoteric oxides. Some metal oxides such as aluminum oxides and zinc oxides reacts with both acids and bases to form salt and water. So such metal oxides are known as amphoteric oxide. Now, aluminum oxide being amphoteric in nature, it reacts with the aqueous solution of sodium hydroxide to form a water-soluble sodium aluminate. This means that bauxite is leached by sodium hydroxide solution and to get sodium aluminate. There is a formula of sodium aluminate NaAl2 we get from this chemical reaction sodium aluminate. The iron oxide in the gangue does not dissolve in aqueous sodium hydroxide. It is separated by filtration. However, silica is the gangue dissolved in sodium hydroxide to form a water soluble sodium silicate. Aqueous sodium silicate is diluted by putting in water and is cooled to 50 degrees Celsius. This result in precipitation of aluminum hydroxide. When aqueous sodium aluminate is diluted by putting in water or is diluted in water at and is cooled to 50 degrees Celsius. In this process, we get precipitation of aluminum hydroxide. The formula of aluminum hydroxide is AlOH thrice. Now, the Hall's process. In the Hall's process, the ore is powdered and then leached by heating with aqueous sodium carbonate in the digester to form water-soluble sodium aluminate. Then the insoluble impurities are filtered out. The filter is warmed and neutralized by passing carbon dioxide gas through it. This results in the precipitation of aluminum hydroxide. Now we got precipitation of aluminum hydroxide by both processes, such as the Bayer's process and Hall's process. Now the precipitate aluminum hydroxide obtained in both Bayer's and Hall's processes is filtered, washed, dried, and then calcined by heating at 1000 degrees Celsius to obtain alumina. Now we get alumina. The chemical formula of alumina is Al2O3. Now we get the pure aluminum metal from alumina by use of a second extraction method. Name of that method is electrolytic reduction of alumina. In this method, electrolysis of a molten mixture of alumina, melting point of that alumina is greater than 2000 degrees Celsius, is done in a steel tank. The tank has a graphite lining on the inner side. This lining does the work of a cathode. A set of graphite rod dipped in the molten electrolyte works as an anode. Now, you see the figure of extraction of aluminum. The inner graphite line, we also see the inner graphite line. That graphite line acts as a cathode in this process, and 3 graphite rods are dipped in electrolytes. They act as an anode. Now there is a single outlet at present at the bottom of a tank, and we get a pure aluminum by this outlet that present at the bottom. Cryolite and fluorospar are added in the mixture to lower its temperature point up to 1000 degrees Celsius. Now, the cryolite as well as fluorospar are added in the mixture of alumina. Due to that both two chemicals, the temperature of alumina is to be lower, or the melting point of alumina is to be lower up to 1000 degree Celsius temperature. The electrode reaction are as shown below. Before electrode reaction, we discuss aluminum is deposited on the cathode on passing electric current. When electric current passes through the electrolyte, when electric current passes through the electrolyte, that time aluminum is deposited on the cathode. Molten aluminum being heavier than the electrolytes. Now such molten aluminum is collected at the bottom of the tank. The electrode reaction are as shown below. Anode reaction. Now in this electrolytic reduction of alumina, oxygen is liberated at anode. Now oxide ions lose electron and get oxygen. That anode reaction is also known as oxidation reaction. Now cathode reaction is such as aluminum ion get electrons to get aluminum. That reaction is also known as reduction reaction. The liberated oxygen reacts with the anodes to form carbon dioxide gas. The anodes have to be changed from time to time as they get oxidized during the electrolysis of alumina. Extraction of moderately reactive metals. Now we study the extraction of moderately reactive metals. The metals in the middle of the reactivity series such as iron, zinc, lead, copper are moderately reactive. Usually they occur in the form of their sulfide salts or carbonates. It is easier to obtain metals from their oxides rather than sulfides or carbonates. Therefore, the sulfide ores are strongly heated in air to transform them into oxides. This process is called roasting. Carbonate ores are strongly heated in a limited supply of air to transform them into oxides. This process is known as calcination. Now the both reactions are written such as roasting reaction and calcination reaction. In roasting reaction, we get oxides, and also in a calcination reaction, we get oxide of metal. The zinc oxide so be obtained is reduced to zinc by using suitable reductant such as carbon. When we use suitable reductants such as carbon, that carbon reacts with zinc oxide or oxide of metal to get pure zinc. Apart from carbon, reactive metals such as sodium, calcium, aluminum are also used as a reducing agent for the reduction of metal oxide to obtain the metal. This is because these metals displaces moderately reactive metal from its compound. For example, when manganese dioxide is ignited with the aluminum powder, the following reaction takes place. Identify the substances undergo oxidation and reduction in this reaction. Now, in this reaction, manganese oxide reacts with aluminum to form a manganese and aluminum oxide. There is a that reaction is such as now the heavy Now the heat evolved in the above reaction is so large that the metal is formed in the molten state. Another similar example is the thermit reaction. Hence, iron oxide reacts with aluminum to form iron and aluminum oxide. Extraction of less reactive metals. The metals at the bottom of reactivity series of metals are less reactive. That is why they are found in the free state in nature. For example, gold, silver, platinum. The reserves of copper is free state are very few. Presently, copper is found mainly in the form of cuprous sulfide. Copper is obtained from cuprous sulfide or just by heating in air. Refining metals. Metals obtained by the various reduction processes described above are not very pure. They contain impurities. The impurities need to be separated to obtain pure metal. Electrolysis method is used to obtain pure metals from impure metal. तर आपण ह्या दोन रिएक्शन्स बद्दल थोडासा अभ्यास करणार आहे. तर मॅंगनीज ऑक्साइड रिएक्ट्स विथ अल्युमिनियम टू गेट manganese and aluminum oxide. Please tell me oxidation and reduction in this reaction. Identify the substances undergone oxidation and reduction in this reaction. ह्या रिएक्शन मध्ये अल्युमिनियमचं ऑक्सिडेशन झालं आणि मॅंगनीजचं काय झालं बरं, रिडक्शन झालं. आणि दुसरी रिएक्शन दुसरी एक रिएक्शन आहे, त्या रिएक्शन बद्दल आपण अभ्यास करणार आहेत. त्या रिएक्शनचं नाव आहे थर्मिट रिएक्शन. Fe2O3 plus Al to get Fe and aluminum oxide, that is Al2O3. Now in this reaction, ह्या रिएक्शन मध्ये ऑक्सिडेशन कुणाचं झालं, अल्युमिनियमचं ऑक्सिडेशन झालं आणि रिडक्शन कुणाचं झालं, Fe2O3चं रिडक्शन झालं, म्हणजेच आयरनचं रिडक्शन झालं.